Hey, I will say I feel bad saying this too with John missing out on this one too, but like I feel like they were pretty good about those Metroid Prime remastered copies. Like they got those. It took them a minute, but like seems like they didn't just say, "Oh, screw everybody, we're not." It seems like they're available
I think I'm
now.
ultimately glad I got it digitally.
Sure,
even if it does take up so much space on my.
Yeah, but it's like you can always archive stuff or get a bigger.
Is it that
micro
big
SD
of a
card
file?
if you really want to?
No, I just have so many games.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I just have an absurd amount of games.
And we are
there.
what, like 6 years plus into the Switch already at this point?
Yeah.
I think.
Maybe even more.
Yeah.
Maybe even more.
It was.
The Switch is so sweet.
7 years?
Damn, man.
Yeah.
I'm getting pumped for Zelda too, even though, like, I'm not overly pumped, but I'm just excited for it.
Oh, I'm going to be overly pumped when that comes out. Yes.
I've been doing my good. I've actually been very happy with how I've just like been going into so many games without knowing a single thing about them until I play them.
Yeah, I've only watched a couple of the like snips of the trailers. Like I haven't even really like where I was. The only thing I've been a little disappointed about is just like it looks a little too the samey, but at the same time, Breath of the Wild was sweet, so I'm not mad about it.
My favorite Zelda game, I think.
Definitely my favorite 3D Zelda, even though I never beat it, but I think it's my favorite 3D Zelda and probably my favorite Zelda.
It's okay, you guys can both be wrong.
What's the best Zelda?
What's your number one, John?
I would probably put Wind Waker.
I won't argue with you.
That's my favorite one that I've beaten. That's for sure.
Wind Waker on Wii U was
and
fucking
Majora's
awesome.
Mask are like my.
Yeah.
I just can't get over those two.
Wind Waker's a little on the easy side, but it's like in a good way.
Yeah.
Like you can just kind of coast through it.
Yeah.
It's just fun.
That is vibes for sure.
I was actually just talking to my friends, like, because I remember I was like hooked on that game on the GameCube.
Yeah.
And like I remember my friend, like we had a band practice or something, and like I was just talking to my buddy AJ, like him and my buddy Tommy like came over one day either after a band practice or something, and like I was like hooked on Wind Waker. I was talking about it all the time, and like after the practice they like took the disc out of my system and like left and like just kind of stole it to just for a joke, like to be like, oh yeah,
it's not a joke.
Won't be able to play Wind Waker tonight. And I was like, you guys get back here right now.
Yeah.
I play it. I was planning on playing that tonight. And like Tommy was the only one that had a car, and it was just like, hey man, you got to drive back. It's joke's on you.
No,
you're coming back because I'm playing Wind Waker tonight. I was so fucking hooked on that game.
Oh yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome to Pursuing Pixels. My name's Kevin Portelli, and I'm here tonight with John Hines.
Hey there.
And Randall Nolery.
Hey folks.
And we are back as always to talk about some video games. And I guess we could just dig right into the action this week. I feel like we've been kind of rehashing some of the stuff that we've talked about on previous either regular episodes, or for me, some of the stuff that I've talked about on a very recent Save It for the Cast episode, or at least at the time of recording this. So I've been playing a ton of that game, so we'll dig into that shortly. But Randall, I know you've still been chipping away at probably the newest game out of all of us, some Resident Evil 4. So maybe we'll start out with some thoughts on what you've still been chipping away with on that one, and then dig into some of the other stuff we've been playing.
Resident Evil 4 rehash. Yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Is that what it's called? Rehash? Or
no,
it's like, they always come up with some kind of subtitle.
No, the modern thing is just to call it the same thing that it was back in the day, but it's not. It's a new one.
So you can't search it.
The year after it, so that people know which one you're talking about. And that's the case here with Resident Evil 4 2023. This is the remake that I was just gushing all over the last time we recorded. And I'm still, if I can help it, trying to play that game nightly. Man, I am really, really stuck on that game still. And I, like any game that I love, I'm just slow playing it. Like I did with the Last of Us games or anything else, when you can collect items or craft or whatever. I'm like combing the entire area before I leave. I'm just enjoying it that much, right?
Yeah.
So I still don't. It's been long enough since I played the original, and I know most of the beats have been similar enough, but I don't remember exactly how through the game I am, but it feels like a good halfway through or so at least. But I have Ashley with me now, who is the president's daughter, and you have to, of course. So
now you're playing Eco.
Kind of. So it's escort mission stuff, right? So it's like, which gets a real bad rap. At least back in the day it did. Like there was a lot of gamer discourse circa 2000s about how escort missions were like the worst thing of all time, right? But
which I can't, like the pathfinding and stuff like that, but that's come a long way since that era,
It has, and even then, like, it wasn't that big of a deal with Resident Evil 4, and you could always put Ashley in like a dumpster or in like or like a locker or whatever that
Clear
just
the
happened to
room.
be in that awful zombie shack, a locker that's still with a door that closed, and that's still the case with the remake. And you can still command her to like follow me or like stay back, and like that happens pretty easily to like flip back and forth between those things. And even if she gets like, typically the enemies, if they get close to her, they won't hurt her necessarily. They'll pick her up to try and take her back to whatever evil super lord zombie guy, and then you have an opportunity as like she's screaming and the thing saying, hey, you got to go save Ashley, that like you can shoot the zombie in the leg, and then he kind of has to fall to one knee, and then Ashley falls off, and then you can take care of the thing. So it's fine. It's just another element to deal with. Sometimes there's advantages to ADD that way, where like you can kind of know that there's like 5 things you need to be tracking at one time, and it's just an added element to the gameplay, and it's totally fine. And they vary it up with Resident Evil 4, where even though when you get Ashley, you're saving her from where she was before, and you're going through the game, they kind of gin up ways where she's away from you for a while in different sections still. So you have your like just solo, I'm just Leon going through these corridors modes, and then but still there's that one place over there that looks like I would need Ashley to like bring her back so that I could boost her up so she could unlock this door and we can go get that treasure before we leave this section. So like it's all interwoven really well. Man, it's just really good.
I was gonna ask, like, because I know how I play games that like are just in general, but like you were saying that you don't like quite remember like all the same beats. Like, how many times did you play the original?
So actually, I only like played through it once. I played it like a number of times where I'd be like, I just want to fire up Resident Evil 4 and play like that first section or two, and then
get the
same
Wii
with the Wii
remake
version
or whatever. Yeah.
So like, and there was opportunities, just excuses to be like, I just want to feel that for an hour and then, jump back out to the other thing I had been playing. So only played through it one time way back in the day in like, I don't know, 2006, 7, somewhere in that range. Right. So it's very hazy. All those.
Nice. So it is kind of like playing a brand new game, even though it is like the familiar context.
Yes, very much so. It's that perfect zone, right, where I know I already like this, but they've improved it in these subtle ways, but I also know it enough because it is still kind of like horror themed, but I don't have to be like too trepidatious about it, that I can kind of still go guns blazing and enjoy myself. And like I got these pre-order bonuses when I pre-ordered the game, that like I don't feel bad about like quote unquote cheating the game by using those things because I had already played through the game before. Even if I hadn't, I don't know that I would care, but even less of the case that way. And I've sold those things in the meantime because there's this whole separate economy of this game with Stranger, who he always calls you Stranger, and you sell
what are you
things.
Buying,
what are you selling, and then like
you
can tune up your weapons, which is always worth doing because you can then have higher capacity in your weapons, so that because there's also the inventory management inside your briefcase of what you can carry. And, if you don't upgrade your briefcase size-wise when the opportunity strikes, that gets pretty small in a hurry, right? So your ammo capacity can be like its own mini briefcase in a way, in that you're carrying that ammo in your gun and not as a separate, taking up 2 more slots in your briefcase. So there's a lot of like, I don't know, meta game of going on in a few ways that way with the crafting and the tune-ups, and there's item degradation with your knife, and if you get the body armor, and so there's lots of little systems that are kind of in play together that feel really good. And you do these like extra side missions to get these spinels. The spinels let you trade in for things that you can't just buy outright. You have to get this special gem to do so, but they can be like, add this stock thing to your like most powerful gun, so now that you're not swaying around so much, it's very accurate and you're hitting critical hits more often. But you have to save up your spinels. You can't just spend them immediately. There's all kind of push and pull there, and oh man, I love this game. I love it.
Are you is Tina watching you play at all, or is it kind of like a solo turn the lights out and enjoy the end of the evening kind of thing? Or
it's both. Yeah, she'll watch it from time to time, and she watched me play it way back in the day. We've been together that long, so she's watched me play like the Wii version and stuff like that in the past, so she kind of knew it too. Obviously some of the death can be pretty gruesome though, so it's like here we go, I'm about to get my head eaten, so you might it's like so, but she's all right with that. She's seen that stuff enough too. But it's been kind of fun to watch that way. And there's like these puzzles too that are kind of I'd say on the level of like an Uncharted type of puzzle, where they're not so high stakes or difficult, but they're just kind of a fun change of pace sort of thing. There's a lot of that, more than I remember, and that stuff's really cool too. So they do a really good job varying it up, but like every bit of the gameplay is just fun for me. Hits my buttons.
That's good to hear. I'm all about these, modern update remakes, whatever you want to call them. I guess kind of both, because we've talked about those Wild Guns and Rocky remakes, like reimagining whatever. But I feel like we're in a good sweet spot of these remakes these days. Like it's been a long time since there's been a remake where I'm like, they kind of, other than Mario 3, which the Game Boy Advance version, which I talked about weeks ago, but that was a long time ago. I feel like these remakes have been, I don't know, it's been a long time since I've been disappointed in new version of an old game.
Yeah, it's been glory days of remakes these last few years, especially. It's been very good that way. We've been very spoiled.
Yeah, I'm all about it. But I guess before we get to some of the other stuff that Randall and John have been playing, I'm going to dig into some Everybody's Golf, which I talked about on a recent Save It for the Cast. I had just picked it up, so I kind of mentioned I'd played a couple rounds. I think I was like, I don't know if I can really recommend this game. I still was on the fence, but it does seem like it's going to be really grindy. I know when I first I jumped in our Discord right away when I played the first couple rounds, okay, this is definitely not going to scratch that Mario Golf itch that I was hoping it would. I've mentioned ad nauseum on the podcast now, and I feel like even in our videos and stuff, it inevitably comes up. I'm like, Mario Golf Super Rush, it's so disappointing. But I was expecting that game to the point where, so I played a couple rounds of Everybody's Golf, and this is a game on the PS4. I picked it up for $10 at one of the used game shops that Randall and I went to. Actually, I went to Retro Taku and scooped it up. I was like, I don't want to leave here empty-handed. This is $10.
Yeah.
And ended up getting home, and unfortunately, I mentioned this briefly on the Save It for the Cast too, but I popped in the disc of my, it's been a while since I've popped it, even used my PS4. I had to dig it out of the garage and everything. And then I popped in the disc and it just going and not spinning the disc. And I was just went and I went exactly like a Dreamcast, kind of is how it sounded. And then I just started tapping it, hitting it in different spots, and then all of a sudden the disc starts spinning, and I was like, okay, there we go.
But turn it upside down. That's what you do with PlayStations. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. Is that true?
No, okay, no, that's original. That's an original PlayStation thing with the original lasers. You people were turning them upside down, like the original PlayStation.
Okay, because that's what I was
properly because that's what I was were degrading.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I wonder if the laser's out of sync or whatever, but it seems like there's something just kind of out of alignment. And if I just tap it enough times, it lines up. So literally every single, I've played no games for the last 2.5 weeks or so since I bought this game. I've only been playing Everybody's Golf. So I will say I can definitely give it an endorsement in terms of it's a really fun golf game with really good, Mario Golf arcade style golf mechanics. But really similar to Mario Golf, really like, a little different in a few regards. It's Everybody's Golf again. I mentioned before is like it's the Hot Shots Golf series. If anybody's familiar with that, it's sort of a spin-off of that, and the characters look a little bit like, or a little less like bobbleheady. They're a little more just kind of like regular looking people, like a little bit of a Pixar look to them, but less. I feel like the Hot Shots were like big head mode almost,
chibi sort of styling a bit, yeah.
Yeah. So they kind of like dropped that branding for this version. I think it's always been Everybody's Golf elsewhere around the globe, or at least in Japan, the series. But anyways, it's just called Everybody's Golf here. But like now, I think as of September 2022, all the online modes are offline. So like you can't do any of the online stuff anymore. And this game is a grind and a half. Like it is like, okay, you got to play tournament mode and rack up these points and then beat 3 versus characters. And then in like match play, actually a bunch of different, the cool thing that like keeps it kind of interesting, because there are only 5 courses in the game, 5 18-hole courses, which is pretty solid. And then there's 5 DLC courses that they added later in the, later on in the life of the game or whatever, which I'm tempted to buy, but they don't even have like a bundle of them. I looked it up, like you can only buy each individual course for $6.50 each. So I'm like, man, that's a decent proposition, especially considering that I got to like smack my PlayStation 4 just to get this disc to start spinning. So like, I don't even know if I'm, it's not a guarantee that I'm going to be able to keep playing these, courses or whatever.
Can you still even get them, even though it doesn't have online? Like, you can still get them in the store?
I think so, but I don't know for sure because I actually couldn't remember my login for my PlayStation account.
Because this is going to be a recurring theme. We're going to revisit this. Oh boy!
Yeah, but I am pretty sure. Like I did look it up because I looked up to see the prices of them, and it seemed like you could buy them still. And maybe there used to be a bundle. I don't know, but yeah, best I could tell. So I'm like, maybe if they go on sale at some point and do some crazy like Sony first party deal on the shop and they're like $1.50 each or $2, it's like, because they're all 5 courses I just played like in the hour before we sat down to record tonight. I played the last course that I just unlocked, but like I said, I just unlocked this course and this is the only game I've played for the last 2.5 weeks. So it's like chipping away, you level up 1 rank at a time, and then you got to beat 3 versus characters after you rack up like tournament points, and like you have to. I've been playing in serious mode from the start, which is just like makes it slightly harder apparently. Like the competition, like the game itself, like the holes are the same and whatever, but the players you're playing against play a little better in the tournaments. But everybody said put it on serious mode, you can rack up points quicker and therefore unlock everything quicker. But yeah, like the versus mode is kind of fun. Like there's a few different like types of cup. Like sometimes they'll be like teeny cups or mega cups, so they're huge or small, or tornado cups. So like if you're like playing a par 3, you might be like, at first I was like, I don't know what this does, because when you're putting, if you get it kind of close, it doesn't like, I was thinking it would suck it into the hole kind of. But it does a little bit when you're putting, but it's more actually like if you're like taking a shot that's kind of arcing from above and like otherwise would maybe land close to the pin and then bounce quite a bit past it, it kind of gets sucked into the vortex of the tornado and sucked into the cup. So it's like, it's a little arcadey. It's like unrealistic in some regards, but otherwise it's like actually a pretty realistic golf game. Like nothing crazy. Like you're not like bouncing it off of mushrooms or shooting it down pipes or anything. And like I said, I think I mentioned at the beginning, maybe it was before we started recording, but like after I played just a few rounds, I was like, oh, this is going to be such a grind and a slog. Like I actually fired up Mario Golf Super Rush because I was like, I know they did one more update to this and like maybe they tweaked some things and changed it.
Mm-hmm. And
no, they did not.
Version.
No, I played 2 holes and was like, nope, fuck this game. Like it's even when you're putting. I think I'm sure I said this when we recorded the previous episode where I've talked about it. But like every time you adjust the aim of your putt, it like erases the grid that shows you like the slope of the putt until you stop moving. It's like then you can't. It's just every little bit of the control scheme and the UI and the heads up display in Mario Golf is just absolutely terrible. It's so hard to aim your shot, where Everybody's Golf is like, you really can like fine tune. You can like D-pad, you go up, down, left, right. You can raise the elevation. You can lower the elevation. You go like right down to the ground. Every once in a while you'll have like a crazy, like, something's in your way and there's like a big rock formation that's like, oh, it's kind of blocking my view, and something about the cameras like jank. But like It's a really hard, like, you got to hit the fairways, you got to, and I will say at first, the reason it felt extra grindy, and it still even does this, like, you level up every club with, like, the power, the control, the backspin with, and then you have, like, a power set of clubs, a spin set of clubs,
wait, so does
control
your character,
set of clubs.
Does your character get experience or just your clubs?
It's just your clubs, kind of, because you just have, like, a generic character that you can just kind of, like, cosplay as other characters as. I don't know how it works if you play multiplayer. Like, maybe you can pick the other characters. I don't know, but that's one thing I miss. Like, even in Mario Golf Super Rush, like, all the characters just have, like, the same shot. They have different, like, distances that they hit it, but, like, in the old games, it was like Mario hits, like, it a little further, but he's got, like, a right draw or like a hook to the left. Or a fade or whatever, where, like, in the new Mario Golf, it's like everybody just hits it dead straight, different distances. Like, there's no difference to the characters. They have, like, different speed for, like, running if you're playing the speed rush mode. But, like, so everybody's golf, like, I haven't really done this because in the single player tournaments, it doesn't have you, like, running on the course like you, because I think Super Rush was probably inspired by this a little bit, because you can, like, roam around and run around on the course. You can go fishing, you can go swimming, you can jump into a golf cart. Like, you kind of unlock all these things as you go and beat different versus characters. So I really do like all the different challenges in the versus mode. Like, they'll throw, like, oh, if you hit it in the rough, it's +1 stroke, or if you take if you take more than 15 seconds to take a shot, it's +1 stroke. So, like, they throw some different, like, arcadey elements into the mix, but, like, I've found that every round, like, there's some rounds where I'm, like, birdieing every hole and I'm dominating, but there's some round, like, I got, like, a +10 on one hole, like, just getting it out of bounds. Like, I can't get out of this predicament. So it definitely, like, on the Save It for the Cast episode, I was like, I don't know if this is going to scratch that Mario Golf itch, and it most definitely is scratching that itch. And, like,
nice.
The only bummer is that it's, like, kind of not supported anymore. And, like, I don't know, like, I kind of wish, like, you know, talking about all the Mario Kart lately, it's like, I wish they kind of just, like, not only still had this game active, but, like, started maybe bringing in courses from the old Hot Shots games or something.
Yeah.
You know? Like, that would be the ideal scenario. But yeah, if those other 5 courses ever go on sale, I might scoop them up. But there's still 5 solid courses here. Really great arcade gameplay, really, like, precise. Like, you can do these super backspin shots, but they only work if you get a perfect impact.
Okay.
And you have to do, like, you have to press up on the D-pad when you're setting the power, but then down on the D-pad when you're hitting the impact to get the super shot. So it's like, it's a little more, I don't know, a little more
involved.
Yeah, that's exactly the word I was looking for. While you're playing. So it's like, yeah, I'm like, in Mario Golf, I almost, like, get into a rhythm where it's, like, mindless. Even the games that I love, and I'm like, just like, okay, I'm, like, chipping in every shot, making every putt. And I can sink most of the putts, I will be honest. But, like, it feels so, like, I seriously was like, I'm playing tournaments against computer players. And I seriously, like, I made an eagle earlier today. Like, from, like, a long range, like, nice. You know, just, like, chipped it in and it rolled in. And I was just like, fuck yeah. Like, and I'm just, like, playing computer play. I was getting so pumped. And the reason I ended up getting hooked is because I did a stream where I played it. And I was like, oh, this is, like, exactly what I needed. One of our pals jumped in on the stream and was like, oh man, Kevin's playing golf games. I was like, hey man, I might become an everybody's golf streamer here full time now that the game's dead and gone. But yeah, I really can't recommend it enough. If you can, you know, find it for $10 and, you know, don't mind the fact that it's not really supported anymore.
Looks like some of those games are playable on PS5 too, so that's cool.
Yeah, I was curious too, because it had a setting that was, like, updated. You know, you could, like, check the visuals to, like, update it for the PS4 Pro or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So I was kind of curious, like, how much better it would look, because that, like, some of the rough and stuff, it's like, oh, there's no real texture to that grass, and I feel like maybe if you turn those settings on it and had a PS4 Pro or 5 or whatever, it might work. So, can you play PS4 games on the PS5? I don't think I knew that.
Yes, some of them. Yeah,
because they've not been super supportive of the backwards compatible in the past.
Yeah,
so
looks like that one is one of them. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Good to know. So yeah, I've been getting my fill, and I intend to probably, you know, if I'm not too tired after we finish the recording here, I might play another round or two, because now I unlock this, like, custom set of clubs that I can, like, unlock, and, like, almost like it has, like, Breath of the Wild mechanics where it's like they wear down over time. But you, like, can level them up with certain stats. It sounds kind of cool. I don't think I'll mess with that too much, because I'm like, again, I don't know if the disc is going to spin, so I got to just roll with what I got here. So
that's great.
But yeah, I'm really having fun with the game. I really love it, and honestly, I do kind of want to do some more streams where I just like kick back. I just feel like hanging out and playing some golf, hitting
Absolutely.
the links. So, but yeah, back to Randall here. I know you've been doing a little mobile gaming lately.
Oh yeah, known mobile gamer me. So yeah, this is not a part of the industry that I've kept up with too well at all. I get on like one mobile game every, I don't know, like 5+ years or so. So the one
we've talked about them a handful. So
yeah, the one for this 5-year span though is Mighty Doom. So this is based on the Doom franchise that we now know and love again after the reboot in 2016. It is that Doom with the Doom guy and everything, but it's a mobile game, so it's like top down, almost single screen, but like portrait mode. You only have to use one thumb, like as you're holding it in portrait mode, sort of like mobile game, auto shoots, sort of thing, and but it does have all the nasty mobile trappings. I'll get that out on the front side. So be warned if that's something that you are sensitive to.
And there's no way to just like purchase the game flat out and say like, get that stuff out of the way.
No, then you don't get the whales. You don't get the whale money that way. So you can't do that.
Yep.
But like I also do these, like I've got a Google Pixel phone from like a couple 2 or 3 years ago, and it's like it gets a little hot if I play that game for too long, but like in 5-10 minute stretches, which is what this is made for, it is perfectly fine. It takes a little while to load on the front side, but then once you're in. And yeah, like I said, it has all those mobile trappings of cooldown timers, or like if you want extra this MacGuffin credit for this purpose, like watch this ad for this crappy game or whatever, like for 30 seconds, right?
Have you gone into those depths?
I have.
Either or, the watching or the spending.
Yeah, the quote unquote watching, where I press the ad and I'm like, well, I'm like working.
And then you toss your phone away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, let this bullshit play. I'm not even listening to it because normally I've got like an earbud in. So like take the earbud out and do other stuff. Oh, it's done. Okay. Let's go back. There's the credit. Okay. Like, let's go back and spend that credit and experience on these other, things to get the next experience level, and watch the numbers go up, right? It's all we know. We know what time it is.
I know, brother.
I was gonna say, I feel like John's dug into this, like, we've talked about this a few times on the podcast.
Well. I got to see so many, because my geolocation somehow picked up when I was in Madison, Wisconsin. I got a lot of Wisconsin political ads for a while, which I was like, I don't understand the context of this, so this is just washing over me.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a different level. On my side, at least, it was just like for a crappy puzzle game, or like a clone of that. What is that? That vampire? What's that?
Vampire Survivors.
Yes,
is a clone of that.
Yes,
even if it's not what the actual game is.
Yes.
Yeah, even when you mentioned that you were gonna talk about Mighty Doom, Randall, I looked it up real quick, and the little article I read about it was like, it's kind of got that Vampire Survivors energy.
Does
not
it?
quite the same,
okay.
but like just kind of like horde mode, sort of, but it kind of looked a little more dungeon crawlery from like the screenshots.
Yeah, or like I mean, there is that sort of mode where like there's enemies coming in waves and stuff like that, but mostly what I was playing is these like bespoke runs, basically, where like, and they do seasonal things like a lot of these sort of games as a platform do, or Easter just happened, so there's these like evil zombie bunnies, right? And he killed 150 evil zombie bunnies with this specific shotgun, and hey, you can upgrade that shotgun with these MacGuffin points and these MacGuffin things, and like then you get more experience and unlock more MacGuffins. But it's fun. It's a fun time waster. I only have to touch it with one thumb, and it works on my phone. And like I was even looking at the reviews for the first time today, and I'm like, oh shit, like this actually didn't do so hot on the review scale. But I also saw like, the user reviews are way better on this, and like I'm not trying to spend real money on this. I know what I'm getting into. It's a well-made, I think, Doom mobile experience that is, you know, auto shooter kind of like Smash TV sort of vibes to me, as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, there's like a main weapon, like a secondary weapon. You get like all the chainsaws and the BFGs and all the Doom stuff, right? And then there's kind of a counter that builds up during your run for your super weapon that you can choose to use, and there's a boss at the end of the run, and sometimes there's multiple bosses through like checkpoints of the run, and you know, it's all for the greater good of the experience that you're getting along the way, and you know, the daily check-in bonuses, all the BS with mobile stuff that way. But you know, that being said, I've played it, you know, Resident Evil 4 and this have been what I've been playing most days over the course of the last, I don't know, month. And that's, you know, it came out like a month ago or so.
Yeah, I feel like when you find the right mobile game, it's just kind of nice to have like a pick up and play. And it's sort of nice, like if you aren't going to get suckered into that mobile, like spending to keep playing kind of thing. And you can just accept the fact that like, you know, this could be a totally, you know, way better game if it was just a commercially released game or whatever, potentially.
Yeah.
But if you can just accept, like, it's kind of nice to have that limitation almost, because sometimes you can, like, even this Everybody's Golf, you know, I've been playing it like every time I have free time, like, I'll squeeze in quick 18 holes or whatever. Yeah. It's like, you know, if it was just like, hey, you can't play another 18 today because you've already played earlier today, it's like that, maybe that would be nice and I could be a little more productive.
Yep.
So.
Yep, and it is. It's just like, oh, I'm going to play this for 5 minutes and I'm fine. You know, let that cooldown timer thing go. That's not a big deal. And like,
it's that quick. It's that quick of a run, like 5
they can
minutes,
be.
and then a full 24-hour cooldown, or you can play again shortly after.
That's for like these little seasonal runs for these like separate like achievement things of like killing the bunnies with different weapons, blah blah blah, or doing enough damage. Kind
of like a daily challenge.
Yeah,
sorta.
There's daily challenges. There's kind of like weekly stuff, and then there's kind of a main mode where get to level 20, and you're kind of going through and, you know, going through each one of those screens or whatever, essentially. But there's also little elements that are like, you know, you can do the glory kills like you can in the new Doom, right? Where like they get down to a certain level, then you pull them apart and you get health back. And so there's kind of the push and pull there. And there's like bombs that'll explode, and you can kind of be strategic about like when you want to go in that area, even though you're auto shooting, to know like, okay, I'm ready for that bomb to explode because enough guys have tried to, you know, get around me and crowd around. Boom, let's set that off by, you know, shooting in that area. So there's a level of strategy where it just like, it feels good. And I do these like Google rewards where they for some reason ask my opinion on stuff, and I'll get like 40 cents or whatever. I'm like, okay, I've built up $5, so I can throw $5 of funny money at that. Like, that's fine. I don't care. It's not my money.
Right.
To unlock this specific like Doom Slayer guy that like, oh, when he's down to 25% health, he does more damage or whatever. And like, okay, I'm fine for now. I'll go with that for a while. So yeah, it's been a nice little time waster.
Yeah, those seem like a perfect little duo to jump between.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Lots of violence. Yeah, for some.
Yeah, mowing down hordes of enemies. Yeah.
Lots of gore in my gameplay right now.
The usual Randall gameplay.
Blood and guts. Yeah.
That's all me. Yeah.
You know me. Yeah. Too funny. But if you're good there, Randall, why don't we kick it over to John for a little follow-up on some of the 3DS stuff that we talked about a couple weeks ago.
I honestly was not expecting as much synergy on the games that we were talking about, because today
I know this is almost like a sequel episode.
but also like just in you talking about like your stuff that you were dealing with the PS4, like today I opened up my 3DS and saw that it was like the game cartridge was ejected, and I was like, oh no, the springs are probably not because I've used all of this hardware so many times over the years. But also the stylus no longer stays in because that little nub that keeps it in, like, so it's just
a little
out.
Tooth.
I just put that like aside. I was like, all right, stylus, you've served me well in the years. But no, I am playing Fantasy Life, the 2014 level 5 single player MMORPG. Which is I was thinking about it because we had been talking briefly months ago, probably at this point, about the 3DS store closing, and Randall was a saint and did his part in trying to walk me through, trying to put some funds in so I could get the DLC for this, and I have $20 sitting in my Nintendo Network ID fund, which apparently does not also translate to my Nintendo Switch ID. So who knows?
Wait a minute.
I thought there's a way to transfer that.
There's probably.
We'll have to look into that.
But you said your accounts were connected. How does that work? It's not even on your.
Know.
You can't use it on the eShop either.
No, dude.
What?
It's been a nightmare and a half.
What the hell?
What did I get recently? Oh, I got the Splatoon DLC, and I was like, oh yeah, I've got like $20 in my account from like this like weird like trying to log into an ancient 3DS account, and then like when I
got some Wii Shop points.
DLC, it was like, you have $0 in your account.
What do you mean?
Oh no!
What account did you put it in, John?
But
there's got to be a way.
Regardless,
seriously, I can't even log into my PS4 account. Yeah, there's a lot of, similarities.
We live in a dumb era.
Specifically with Nintendo,
digital currency and digital products. But I have the cartridge of Fantasy Life.
Hell yeah.
And I can still play that. And when I booted it up, I saw that I had spent 90 hours on my original like play file. Dang. Started up a second file, and I was also playing that right up until we were recording. And I am at 35 hours in my second play file.
Dang, man.
And honestly, this, like, I had a lot of fond memories, but had also been like, it's a pretty massive RPG, and like not one that is typically what I would do in terms of like replayability. Like a lot of the games that I replay are either my favorite games of all time in terms of RPGs, or like games that are easily rebeatable, like not necessarily like huge games. Like Metroid games are pretty easy to like knock out in like a couple
like under
days.
10 hours.
Yeah. Like a reasonable amount of time.
For replay,
replaying this game, I'm like, this might be one of my favorite games of all time. Woo! Like, honestly and truly, like, it is just a delight to play in every way. So the quick and easy rundown of the game is that it is a game that offers you different lives that you can play for your fantasy life, and there are 12 lives that you can pick. There are 4 of like combat lives, there are 4 crafting lives, and there are 4 gathering lives, or kind of how they're pretty much like divided. And so they're like, and then they're also like divided in that lateral way. They're also divided vertically in like, if you are a paladin, that like more easily goes into miner and then blacksmith, and like that kind of cycles through itself. Or you could do mercenary, carpenter, and woodcutter, or hunter, tailor, and like, what is the other one? But like they have a lot of really good interconnected cycles between lives, and like the whole pitch of the game was really like, oh, you can play the entire game like only fishing, and that'll get you through. And like, while that's like technically correct, that's not in like practicality, in at least the way that I play the game. Like, for me, it's just anytime I run into any amount of resistance or roadblock in one life, I just immediately switch to another, and then start doing those quest lines and start leveling up those trees. And there's like, anytime I run into any difficulty with that, I switch over to the next. And it offers like such a really good, I don't know, progression of gameplay, and also in like level design. Like, it is very much the game was released in 2014, and it feels of that era in the way that I didn't obviously know at the time. It's like, you don't know what like a feel of a certain era of game is until like that's way past.
It's come and gone. Yeah.
But like replaying it, like the humor is really like cute and goofy, and like the gameplay is like a little clunky, but like nowhere near in the way that I feel like a lot of DS games get. So like there are things that would, like, in terms of game design, like there would definitely be more waypoints and teleporting and like ease of saving or like advancing in quest lines, but like those are so small nitpicks that like it's really not that big of a any hurdle to overcome. And like, I don't know, it's just I really really love this game.
This is the game where you play as like Mii characters, correct?
Kind of. Like there's was that,
do they look like them?
I think you're talking about Miitopia.
Tomodachi
Miitopia.
Life or whatever.
Yeah.
Miitopia, but okay.
Yeah,
Or
Miitopia.
Tomodachi. Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah, Tomodachi
I-
Life, Miitopia. Those were the ones that were
So
specifically
this is separate
Mii's.
from all that.
Yeah, no, this is a level 5 original game. And like you could like you have like at the beginning it's kind of like a Mii maker where you make your own character. And so it is a lot of like customization in that, and it's, you know, within the parameters basically the same as like a Mii maker in terms of like body shape differences, face shape differences, eyes.
But it's
hair.
separate from that. You're not importing your Mii, because that's what I was
Correct.
picturing. But I think I was thinking of the games you guys were mentioning, like Miitopia and those.
Right. No, because those are like, actual Nintendo developed games, whereas this was a separate one. But like, man, it's just, I really think that the progression in the game is so perfectly like tuned to, I don't know, not having much downtime. Like I feel like there's at no point in the game is it grindy, which I think is incredible for
especially
a game.
for something like that. Yeah.
Right, because and that may also be a matter of me having an unusually high tolerance for grinding in games. So maybe if someone else who is less inclined for like the MMORPG, like gathering materials to craft items, which then you use to make better items that can get you further into dungeons. And it is, it's just like dungeon crawly, like top down perspective. But like, I also really think that a strength of it that I didn't appreciate as I was playing it the first time, but really appreciate now, is how it introduces new areas to you, where it will give you like story beats in areas that are way beyond your level. And like, it will give you objectives either like for quests that are also way beyond your level, but you can still like adventure in those areas. So you are constantly going to areas, and then you're like, oh, let me try cutting down this tree. And then you like swing your low level axe and it does 0 damage to the tree. And you're like, all right, I cannot do anything here until like I level up my wood cutting.
This
and
is
then,
John
like,
Xenoblade bullshit here
and
too.
this works.
Oh, it's
bleeding
so good.
through.
Like cutting down a tree that works like what? Like, is there like a battle system? Like, how does this work? Like,
so there are the combat classes are like, they all like just are encounters where you're fighting enemies in the overworld, and like it's all real time. There's no like you will like you have a combat mode where like once you press the A, then you start auto targeting enemies. But if you like get out of combat mode, you can just run past them, and it doesn't like it's a seamless transition between combat and non-combat.
Nice.
But with the gathering classes like mining and carpentry and fishing, there are like, you would go up to either a mine deposit or a tree or a fishing spot, and they kind of control relatively the same. Mining and wood cutting do control pretty much the same, where every swing uses your mana points, and like anytime that you're fishing, anytime that you're pulling against the fish, like it uses mana points. So you're constantly depleting that, and at the same time, anytime that you are not depleting it for like bosses and those gathering things where it's like a major deposit or a large fish, like they are regaining health. Ooh. So you need to be doing more damage than they are regaining health. And So like you can't just like chip away. You can't just spend an hour cutting down a tree doing 1 damage because it's going to be regenerating health the entire time.
Right.
So
that's
like
kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm kind of okay with that. Yeah,
it's really good. And then like especially for the mining outcrops and trees, like they'll have weak points that you like you're moving around either the deposit or the tree trying to find the weak point, and then the weak point changes for the higher level ones. Or like boss level like trees or deposits. Nice. And then for the crafting ones, those are all like kind of mini games where you have 3 different ways. Like if you're a chef, like you have to stir the pot or like chop up veggies or like saute some stuff, and like those are the 3 things, and they all kind of every crafting one kind of controls in the same way, but you're making for blacksmiths, you're making all of your like metal armor or weapons and tools, and then carpentry, you're doing all of your wood-based ones that you've gathered by being a woodcutter, and then there's tailor for anything that's like the lighter classes like mage or hunter that like you will be using those items. And it's just an incredibly well balanced game of giving you a ton of things to do but not being overwhelming. And I just wish that this game was like a household name and that they made an entire series of it, because honestly it is the exact type of game that I love, and it scratches every itch for me.
That's amazing. So I have a question. You had mentioned like roles and like the difference in the roles in this. So in the same game save, like you started this quest, you have this one save, you can flip between different roles. Wow.
Will kind of, because it almost like has like reminded me a little bit of like Octopath Traveler a little bit.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much you can swap between roles in that game, but
so the life system is there. The waypoint system in the game where you can quick travel is you can quick travel to your home. You can quick travel to the life. Oh man, I've played this game for so long. I should know exactly what it's called, but I don't. Anyway, you can you can travel to the place where you can change which life you have, or you can travel to the master that you report your quests to for each life. And like there are 3 major cities in the game, and you can buy a house in every one of those cities. So you can quick travel to each of those cities after you finish their mainline quest. But like they also have, each of the cities have a like place where you can cook, or a place where you can blacksmith, or like a place where you get quests for the mercenary, but you can only report the progress of your quest to the one in the original city. So like there's like little things that would have been ironed out if this game came out 10 years later, but at the time it's a lot of like backtracking and going through like some of the same areas, but then you unlock quick travel within the various areas. It is such a game that came out in 2014 that I actually really enjoy kind of all of these things.
I'm here for it.
Well, I have to go to the blimp to quick travel between these areas, or I have to go to this airship to quick travel between these areas.
There's like an order of operations almost.
Yeah. There's something quaint about it. It's kind of nice. It's kind of cozy, right? Yeah.
So especially if you're just kind of grinding away at it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and like the other thing that I forget you were talking about, this was the other synergy thing when you were talking about escort missions and Ashley, is that there are giant enemies or bounty enemies that you beat, and then you start instead of them dropping all of their like potential item drops, they are put into, if it's a big tree, then it's like a giant like bundle of sticks, or if it's an enemy, then they're put in this crate that you kind of have to walk behind you and deposit at like some place that like processes bounties. But enemies can and will attack that crate if you're like, so then but you can only also you can't run when you are carrying one of the crates, and you can have 3 of them travel behind you at any given time. But then if you're in a dungeon and you've already got 3, then you're like, I need to leave and deposit these crates before I can go any further in this. It's a lot
amazing.
of like kind of old, antiquated mechanics that I know would be frustrating for a lot of people, but I think are really endearing and really fun.
It's a different kind
of
pacing.
Yeah. It's really unique too. That's engaging, I think.
And it's massive. Like, this game is unreal how big it is for a handheld 3DS game, which I know that like games got huge by the time that the DS came out.
Yeah, it's like at that point you can cram anything onto a cartridge, or you can cram a huge game onto a DS cartridge, but still.
Yeah, and like I know I was trying to 100% my like 90-hour file, and like even playing now, I'm like, all right, I'm not doing any of like the like inconsequential mini quests, but I might 100% every one of the lives. Like I might try to max out every one of those.
In this MMO that lives on 3DS,
I know,
single player,
and I couldn't even get the pet DLC where I could get extra pets, but whatever. I got.
There might be ways that you can still get. Your hands on that,
I know
John.
there. I highly recommend people finding a version of this game in any way they can. I don't know how feasible that might be in some ways, but
this is one of those.
Drunk would say, "Any way you can play this game, any way you can."
This is one of those games that I forked out full price digitally for because I had heard such good things, and I was sweating the eShop closure. This is one I targeted. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I can't blame you there. I can't blame you.
Yep.
If you're an RPG freak like me, you're in for a good time.
And Level 5 likes to get in there with those random exclusives. I was going to say on Nintendo consoles, but even on I guess not anymore. I was going to say Ni no Kuni, but that was originally a PS4, PS3 exclusive. PS3, yeah. But now you can get both Ni no Kuni 1 and 2 on Switch, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So.
Level 5 was incredible on 3DS. I mean, think all the
all those
Professor Layton stuff.
games.
Yeah.
I still have that Catriel Layton game on the Switch. I have never popped that one in, but I want to check that one out. I've always really enjoyed those Layton games for like kind of, a laid back, kind of chill, DS experience. Those are always really fun.
Mm-hmm. My favorite
kind of head scratchers too.
Chill 3DS experience, Attack of the Friday Monsters, was a level 5 release. So there you go.
I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
It was an incredible experience.
Oh man.
Any way you can.
It's my chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking about even when I was like playing all the golf stuff, I was like, I got to fire up that Mario Golf 3DS version or whatever. I forget what it's called. But I couldn't find. I thought I had the cartridge still in my 3DS, but I was playing Link Between Worlds last, so I was like, dang, it's not in there, and it's in a box somewhere.
That's a great version of Mario Golf. Also, yeah.
It really is. I remember talking about it on the podcast a while back and being like, man, and thinking like, I remember not liking it that much, and then when I popped it back in, I was like, I love this game.
Shit tons of DLC for that one too.
Yeah, and worthwhile DLC. I bought that like instantly. So
same.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think like Rune Factory 4 was originally a 3DS game, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and,
that
got ported to Switch. So I was thinking of like if they ported Fantasy
Life, that's level 5 too.
Yeah, I think so.
Rune Factory, I didn't know that.
Wait,
I thought that was like Natsume.
Maybe it is.
I was thinking it was the same people that made Harvest Moon, but I could be wrong about that.
I was just thinking that it was a 3DS game that they ported to Switch, and I was like,
oh yeah.
In terms of like, I like the being able to see the map on the lower half of the screen and being able to access a couple menu items with a tap, but I would gladly sacrifice
play it on
that
the couch
and buy it again in a heartbeat if it was on Switch.
Oh yeah,
big screen on the couch is like it's hard to beat that. So
yep,
yes sir.
Yeah, but I think we could probably wrap up the video games chit chat for this week, and hopefully I'll be playing something other than some golf gaming. Although I got to be honest, it is hard to pull myself away from this game.
Keep
but I have been pulling your weight on this podcast for years. Let Randall and me carry you. Seriously, it's your turn to play one game for 3 months.
I've been wanting to play some Metroid Prime and Metroid Dread. All the Metroid you guys have been talking. My buddy AJ, when we were over doing some Mario Kart the other day, we were playing on his Switch, and he had Metroid Dread on the home screen, and he was like, kind of like you were saying earlier, Randall, he was like, oh, I love this game, and he's like, I'm almost beat it, but he's like, I'm just kind of savoring it. He's like, I can't bring myself to finish it because I just want to keep playing it, you know?
Well, he'll have a hard enough time.
Then you get to play it
beat all those games.
Mode.
Yes.
And that's once you've beaten it on whatever difficulty like you want, then you can just play rookie mode and actually enjoy it.
I really want to try
just
that
rip
out.
through it. Yeah, I'm curious too.
You do it, Kevin.
I gotta get my Metroid on. I gotta get my Metroid on.
Just lean into it and go through the pain. I'm telling you.
I should probably switching between a couple different games and going back into like late game Metroid. I'm like, oh god, I don't remember the button combos for like getting the grapple beam out and then aiming it and then jumping it and doing an air dash. I was like, this game gets so hard.
Yeah, that's got to be a tough on ramp. Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah. We'll definitely be talking about some more games next week and every other week after that. But yeah, as always, you can find us on the internet at pursuingpixels.com. And otherwise, until next week, we will catch you then. And until then, take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good stuff. I was so pumped when that YouTube comment came in about the opening those boxes. I was like, yes, this is genius.
Although I will say I tried to open like the side, but then I wasn't using a knife. I was using my finger. And I'm like, oh no, it's still kind of ripped because it's perforated just a little bit on the sides, like where the tabs are. I don't know. I'll have to figure out. It seems like it's a good way to go. You know,
I'm assuming what they meant is like sliding it through where it goes like through all the way to the other side and through that side as well, and then just like prying the whole thing.
Yeah. This was just for.
That seems like it would work.
Yeah, this was just for a box for just arrived today actually. They're making a Nintendo 64 Bluetooth adapter, so it goes into a Nintendo 64 slot, has a built-in memory card. And it's Bluetooth, and because I'm a sicko that has a Nintendo 64 Switch controller, one of 5 people, I can pair it with that and then effectively have wireless Nintendo 64 action with an official controller. So
that's sick, actually. That's compatible with that. That's cool.
Yeah.